We need to lower the cost of living because, look, our economy, while we're making good progress, just this morning, in fact, we got a solid jobs report. Over 250,000 jobs created last month. Unemployment fell. And just a few weeks ago, the Federal Reserve cut down interest rates, which is going to be great for a lot of folks. But there's still more work we need to do.
Vice President Harris rallied in Flint, Michigan for a campaign with prominent Michiganders, including Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
As president, Kamala Harris knows that when we make more here in America, whether it's more energy, more cars, more batteries, more chips, we are stronger and the middle class grows. After 4 years of Donald Trump as president, thanks to leaders like Kamala Harris, we are finally investing in America and in Americans.
And Los Angeles Lakers basketball legend and Michigan native Magic Johnson.
I'm here because I've known Kamala for over 20 years. Cookie and I supported her run for Attorney General back in the state of California, her run for senator, and now we support her as the VP. But now the biggest moment for all of us November the 5th, we have to do all we can to elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States. Now, there's a lot of black men in here, and I don't mean to, not talk to other people, but this is important. Our black men, we got to get them out to vote. That's number one. Kamala's opponent promised a lot of things last time to the black community that he did not deliver on. And we got to make sure we help black men understand that.
Well, the closers are coming out for Kamala Harris. Liz Cheney campaigned with Harris, appealing for independent and Republican votes. Former President Barack Obama will campaign with Kamala Harris in battleground states, starting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania next week. In Flint, Michigan tonight, Vice President Harris shared her plan for American manufacturing.
We know we cannot have a strong middle class without American manufacturing. So over the last 3.5 years, we have brought manufacturing back to America, creating 730,000 manufacturing jobs. We announced the opening of more than 20 new auto plants in the United States. And we did it by investing in American industry and American workers. And then there's Donald Trump. So Donald Trump has a very different approach. So Donald Trump makes big promises, and he always fails to deliver. He said he was the only one who could bring back America's manufacturing jobs. Remember that? And then America lost nearly 200,000 manufacturing jobs when he was president, including tens of thousands of jobs in Michigan. And those losses started before the pandemic, making Donald Trump one of the biggest losers of manufacturing jobs in American history. And on top of all of that, Donald Trump signed a $2 trillion tax cut that mostly went to the wealthy and big corporations, not to working people. Making the same empty promises to the people of Michigan that he did before. But we fooled. We will not be gaslighted. Donald Trump's track record is a disaster for working people. And if he wins again, it will be more of the same.
Vice President Harris closed her speech in Flint with this appeal to Michigan voters, including the millions who've already cast their ballots.
And these 32 days out from the election, it's important that we remind people how we got here. Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overturn Roe v. Wade, and they did. And now more than 1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. Many with no exceptions, even for rape and incest, which is immoral. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly. And here's what I want to say. Look, and that's not our only battle. Across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on assault on other hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights, like the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to join a union, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, and the freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water. Flint, you know all too well, Flint, that clean water should be a right for everyone, not just for the people who can afford it. And as president, I will continue to work with communities like Flint to ensure you not only have clean water, but the opportunity to recover economically and thrive. So, Election Day is in 32 days, and already nearly 2 million ballots are in the hands of Michigan voters alone. So, if you have received your ballot, please do not wait. Fill it out and return it today. Early voting starts statewide on October 26th. And now is the time to make your plan to vote. Because, folks, the election is here. The election is here. And we need to energize, organize, and mobilize. And remember, your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power.
Joining us now is the Michigan Democratic Party Chair, Lavora Barnes, who was at the Flint rally tonight. Lavora, nice to see you again.
Good to see you too, Ali. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. That last point about your vote is your voice is important, but there's a particular message here, and that is that there are some people across this country, including in Michigan, who have ballots. And I don't know. You tell me. Is this a game of convincing people to vote for Kamala Harris, or is it a matter of convincing people who think they're going to vote for Kamala Harris to actually cast those ballots, preferably early if they can?
It's some of both of those things, my friend. We have to walk and chew gum at the same time. So we are calling and texting and reaching to all those voters who have their ballots in their hands and helping them walk through that plan to get that ballot voted and get it turned in to their clerk. And that means if they need some convincing, they'll get some convincing. If they don't need convincing, they just need reminding, they'll get that from us. But we've got a full team of volunteers, thousands of volunteers doing this work every day, making sure that the folks who have their ballots have everything they need to get it done, know where to take it to turn it in, when to mail it, how to mail it, whatever steps they need to take to make sure those votes get turned in.
It was a close race last time. Michigan's always one of those places where it is going to matter every vote, getting every vote out. Tell me about these rallies, because you and I have talked after a couple of them. What does it do? Because clearly the people, generally speaking, I would think the people who are attending are probably there already. Maybe they're there to hear what Kamala Harris has to say, but you're bringing out some heavy hitters there. You've got the governor, you got Magic Johnson, you've got senators. Tell me what happens and how that process of these remarkable, energized rallies translates into voting and voting day.
Let me tell you the big thing about it, aside from the fact that they make great television, so that's great. But we have hundreds of volunteers and staff at these rallies signing people up to be volunteers, to go out and knock doors, to talk to their neighbors, to take the energy they get in the room when they're excited to be, because they got to see Magic Johnson, they got to see the governor, they got to see Kamala Harris. They get to go home and talk about that with folks, and also talk about the issues that were brought up at this rally, and talk about the importance of participating in this election. These are very much organizing events for us. We make sure that we're there with yard signs, with sign-up sheets, with whatever folks need to become part of this team and part of this process. And we do sign up thousands of volunteers at rallies who then turn into super volunteers who show up on the doors and show up on the phones and do the work we need to do every day to get Kamala Harris elected.
Let's talk about Magic Johnson for a second. He had a specific pitch out there, and it's like it was to the black men in the audience. Donald Trump made promises that were not kept to the black community, and he said it is our job to make sure people understand that in order to motivate the vote of black men. What do you make of it?
So thrilled to have Magic there and to say those words. Thanks for coming home, Magic, to do that. Very important to speak directly to his fellow black men about this. We know that there's been some specific targeting toward black men from the Trump campaign, and we're working hard to push back on the lies they're telling about who Donald Trump is and what Donald Trump has done, because he hasn't done those things. He makes promises. We've all seen it. He stands in Michigan and makes promises over and over again, promises he never kept before and has no intention of keeping again. And Magic is a great messenger to tell not just black men, but everybody in Michigan the truth about the fact that you can't believe the words that come out of Donald Trump's mouth, frankly. And we shouldn't have believed them in 20 if we did, but we absolutely cannot believe them now. And we have to do what we did in 20 again and make sure he doesn't win.
Lamora, great to see you as always. Thank you for always agreeing to join us when we ask Michigan Democratic Party Chair Lamora Barnes. Well, in 2020, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 154,000 votes in Michigan. In February, more than 101,000 voters in Michigan, a state with a sizable Muslim and Arab population, voted uncommitted in the Democratic presidential primary as a protest against the war in Gaza. This week, Vice President Harris was endorsed by Engage Action. It's a Democratic Muslim voting group. And today, she met privately with Muslim and Arab American leaders ahead of her rally in Flint. Now, that's after Governor Tim Walz made a direct appeal to Muslim voters on a Zoom call last night.
We all know on here this war must end, and it must end now. The vice president's working every day to ensure that, to make sure Israel's secure, the hostages are home, the suffering in Gaza ends now, and the Palestinian people realize the right to dignity, freedom, and self-determination.
Joining us now is my colleague and Last Word alum and the NBC News 2024 campaign embed, Nnamdi Egwonu. Nnamdi, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about this conversation. It's acute in Michigan. It's important across the country, but given the numbers we just stated, that uncommitted vote, people who are